Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, traders. Steve here at Logic FX Trading, and welcome to our daily FX analysis. A lot happened over the last 24 hours, guys. We're getting a bit of a bounce on stock markets and crypto markets, and we've had a lot of movement. So far as alarms are going off anyway, we've had a lot of movement in the currency markets as well. Now, whether it's going to be sustainable or not is obviously the thing that we don't know. I have kind of flipped back on the stock market issue. I took a lot of stuff off the table yesterday, and as the day progressed, I put a lot back on again, guys. And I think there's an awful lot of stocks at the minute that are, they're down 30-40% on where they were. And it is a risk, but as I talked about yesterday, do you buy the dip or do you not buy the dip? If you don't buy the dip and they go up, well, you'll never get them this cheap again. If you do buy the dip and then we get a bit more of a correction because of inflation, because of Omicron, then obviously you're going to be dragged into the red a bit deeper. The only thing I would say is, with that, particularly where stocks are concerned, completely different thing with currencies, obviously, guys. But as far as stocks are concerned, if you're in it for the long term, then if you get it wrong, as in you get in, you buy the dip and then it continues to dip, then it's just being brave, guys, and riding out the other side of it. So that's kind of where I am now. And I do, as I said yesterday, I do have a lot of reserves that I could put into our public account. So if it were to dip further, I could always put more money into it and buy the dip further and dollar average down. So that's where I am as far as currencies and cryptos and things are concerned, guys. So far as not currencies, sorry, stocks. So far as currency is concerned, obviously it's a different matter because they're not as badly affected by sell-offs. You will get a move in one direction or the other as far as safety is concerned, or you can do, but you're not going to get a big sell-off. Generally speaking, you're not going to get a big sell-off. We did have a massive madness of sell-off in March of 2020, but we'll not see that again, guys. You'll not get situations like that again. So it's relatively safe to continue trading currencies so long as you get your strategy right, and if you're trading in the right direction so far as trend is concerned, then yeah, you'll have to ride through some dips, but you should be okay as long as you're patient, which I don't know that I necessarily am with currencies. I have a tendency, if I get it wrong, I jump out. And then, although, to be honest, this last year I haven't really been dedicated to currencies the way I had been a few years before that. But it's kind of like, you once you know how to ride a bike, guys, you haven't been on it for a while, but you'll very quickly pick up on it again. That's kind of where I am with currencies at the moment. Okay, let's get on with things, guys. There's a lot of alarms gone off over the last 24 hours. I've left them all up there so we can see if there's a pattern in them. Let's do this first. So yesterday, obviously, no major economic news on the calendar. Then overnight, we had, as expected, Aussie interest rate stayed the same. Haven't heard yet any reports of what they said in the background, because obviously that's the thing that moves. In other words, we're going to have to tighten because of inflation. That could move the Aussie long. I did see that there was some long movement in the Aussie yesterday during the day, but as I say, we'll have a look at that in a moment. Euro GDP came in at 2.2 as expected. Year on year, that was quarter on quarter. Year on year came in at 3.9, higher than expected. Sentiment I don't tend to focus too much on. Balance of trade Canada, expecting that later today, and then GDP growth annualized final for Japan, forecast minus 3.1, which is possibly is negative for the yen, guys. But remember, there's more than one thing that affects a currency price. I do think we're back to risk off, certainly for yesterday and today. Whether that's sustainable or not, I don't know. But we'll have to see. Let's quick look at tomorrow. We've got the Bank of Canada interest rate decision. We'll see how that comes in. Still no forecast here on daily FX. Okay, let's just quickly go over and have a look at the the charts, guys. Oh, I put this on yesterday to look at a stock, but I don't want that on there all the time. Let's see if there's anything we can pick up from this. New Zealand, nope, no trend there. US, oh, that's silver, gold, bit of US there, and then pound, euro. Nothing particularly jumps out at me there, other than there's been a lot of movement. Let's have a look at the individual. Just quickly while we're on here, crypto. There was a good bounce yesterday, guys. There was a nice bounce off what potentially was a dip. Previously I'd been drawing this, and then we had it when we got to here. We said we'll get a drawdown and then it'll go long. Is the drawdown finished? Well, we don't know that, guys, but probably better to buy there than obviously there. You know, that makes it's common sense, guys. And then the same with Cardano. We had the massive drawdown over the weekend, and then we're starting to get a bit of a recovery. You'll find Ethereum looks the same and Bitcoin looks the same. Now, we discussed this. I'm not a crypto expert, guys. I'll say that, but just from a technical point of view, Bitcoin is already really, really expensive, guys. So I would have to see it coming down a lot in order to risk putting money on it, because these are pure speculation as far as I'm concerned. And therefore, if I'm going to speculate, I'm kind of going to speculate in something that has a better chance of doubling or trebling or quadrupling its value, which would have to be one of the newer cryptos that potentially could be taken up more by developers, because they're faster, because they've got a broader band on them, as it were, that can process more. What's the word? Do more processes per minute, and they're less expensive and cheaper to use. So that's kind of my angle on cryptos at the moment, guys. If you're ever going to trade anything, you need some angle. It doesn't mean you have to understand the whole thing. But if you see an angle on something, then that can be the thing that you decide that you're going to take a chance on, guys. So that's my angle on cryptos at the minute. So I've kind of got Polygon. I've got a little bit of Algorand, a little bit of Solano, a little bit of Cardano. Is it Solano? Solana, sorry, and Cardano, and there are quite a few others that you read about them and you think, oh, that's nice, but I don't want to spread myself too thin. Elsewise, when you do get one that really runs and you've only got a small amount on it, then it's kind of useless. So I'm going to try and focus on these. Okay, let's get over to our watch list here, guys. And we'll just start with the yen as usual. A little bit of a pullback in the yen at the moment. Not entirely sure what this structure is, guys. Whether it's the start of some sort of recovery, or if it's just a pullback before we go again. I suspect we're finished with the drawdown. But we'll have to see, because if there is a nice bounce in the markets, then you could see a drawdown in the end. But because I'm a little bit unsure about it at the minute, I'm just staying away from it, guys. The XY continuing to stay strong. There's one of the alarms that went off. Based on this structure, the technical structure, guys, I would not be surprised if we got another leg down here. In which case, if you're already in it, tighten your stop. If you're not in it, I would wait for it to break that bottom, guys, and then see if you can get into a nice trade going up there. The thing is, you could get in there and it could go, which would be fine. It could stall out there again, but it also has that possibility of completing the structure. And if you get into it here and it completes the structure, then it does psychological, well, certainly for me, it does a little bit of psychological damage, not a great deal, but every time you ignore the structure and you get it wrong, it kind of undermines you a little bit, guys. So I do talk a lot about the times that I get things wrong. I tend not to talk very much about the times I get them right. Reason being, getting it right doesn't make me feel that much better. Sorry, I'm trying to compare the two. Getting it wrong makes me feel worse than when I get something right. Makes me feel good, if you understand what I'm saying. Um, so I'm always very wary of getting into something that looks like it could drop. Now, there were a couple of things the other day that I got involved in, and they did drop. I can't remember off the top of my head what they were, guys, but there was that type of structure where things had come up, dropped like that. It was probably on a higher time scale, guys, and it looked like that. And for whatever reason, I bought in, and then we got that. And I said to myself, well, that was so blatantly obvious. What were you doing buying in there? So sticking to your own rules, making the rules is one thing, guys. Understanding why you would make a rule and then making it's one thing, but actually sticking to your rules and keeping them at the forefront of your mind is the hard thing about trading, guys, because we get emotional. I don't mean I'm not an emotional person, but you understand. I mean, your emotions influence your decisions. Where you just get a nice feeling about something. You think, do you know what? I think that's going to fear of missing out sometimes, and you think, oh, that's going to go long, and if I don't get into it, I'm going to miss it. But there is that structure, yeah, but the fundamentals. And then you go for it, and then bang, down it comes. Now, obviously, the smart way of doing that then is if you think the trend is going to remain in a certain direction, for example, this, then what you do is if you get it wrong, then you sell again, guys. In other words, if you sell there and you get it wrong, you got to be brave and then sell again. And the other thing about it is keep your leverage low, guys, because high leverage will kill you in so many different ways. When it's high leverage, you kind of have panic's not the right word, guys, but you have a tendency to go, oh my goodness, I've just lost 5% in that within 2 hours of getting into it, or 10%, whatever it is, and if that's on a times 10, if you're anything higher than that, you're mad, because then the amount that you're losing is going to ramp up and ramp up. And I know it works the other way, but be careful. So, pound, I haven't really changed my mind about anything here at the moment. I still think the dollar is going to stay strong. It's going to go long, but obviously on a lower time scale, we are looking for corrections. Same with this, guys. It's come a long way. I wouldn't want to jump short in that. Can it continue to go? It certainly can. But if you look at how the average, look at the chart and how it moves. Now, here's a situation where it ran for quite a while. And then there's what we're looking for, guys. You get that, then you're in a higher probability situation from here. If you want to get it to there, you would have to listen. If you got in there and up you went, and then down you came, and if you didn't get out around here and you rode through it, then you would have got it. Now, you need a lot of patience for that, guys. But if you're kind of wanting to jump in and out, if you got in there and rode it up 5 waves, then take your profit. And even if it pushes on up, be happy that you've taken your profit, because at some time, whether it happened there, let's copy it. Oh, where's the copy? It's in here, isn't it? Whether it happened there or further up or further back, at some point it's going to happen. And that's what you're looking for. And that, as we know from Elliot, that is the right size for the it's in proportion with that wave up there, guys. It could have been bigger, but not necessarily smaller. So that's what you're looking for. So when you come over here, I'm not saying this is the right size for that move. It's clearly that move smaller, but you're looking for something similar. Now, are you going to get it? I have no idea. But would I trade that short without that? No, I wouldn't. And once that's happened, then you got to ensure that your fundamental analysis is still the same. In other words, you still think the dollar's going to go long and the Aussie's going to go short. And then from there, you would trade it. But I certainly wouldn't trade it short from there, guys. Okay. New Zealand would be the same thing. CAD, that's what we're talking about. There we've got a nice pull back in the CAD. Does that now mean this has changed direction? No. It means we're going to get a correction in there. Do we still have that? What's that? Vimeo. Oh. Sorry, let's go back to that other chart. And just copy that. And paste. And we're looking for the reverse again. So, would you be surprised if you got something that looked like that? No, you wouldn't. Are you going to get that? Well, we don't know that, guys. But if you got something like that, and we came along here and it was a Monday morning and we saw something like that, I'd certainly be saying, well, listen, guys, we're looking for the dollar to go long. Look at that nice setup we have. Surely there's an opportunity to trade that up. But without that structure, I'll not be saying that. So what about trading it short because it started to pull short? Well, I'm not looking for the CAD to suddenly strengthen against the dollar. It could do. In other words, this could be sharper, and it could have a potentially different structure. That's going to be the wrong. It could end up drawing down like that instead. Where it comes down like that, and then we'll say, "Oh my goodness, we should have traded that." But I'm not expecting that, guys, and therefore, if it happens, I'll be surprised. So I'm not going to be trying to trade that short. Maybe trade the CAD short or long against something else, but not the dollar. This is slowly but surely moving up. Yet again, there is still that possibility that it'll drop again, break that bottom before it goes. That's just technical. I don't like when something looks like that because so often you get a zigzag, guys. It's just part of what things look like. I don't know why that would happen. I'm just saying it yet again. If that happened, I'd be a lot happier, trading it from there. We're getting a correction here, maybe a flat as opposed to a zigzag, guys. So yes, there could be a bit more down. Remember, we're in 4 hours here, guys. There could be a bit more downside to this. It could well break that. Then you've your alarm line there. When it starts to break there, that for me would be the place to get involved in it. US yen. Look at that, guys. If we think the yen's going to go short, then that may well be a trade. Because it's the yen at the moment, I'm a little bit wary. But you do have to take that into account if you go down. Now, I've been in and out of this a few times recently. Is that the start of the climb back up? Quite possibly, but I'm just a little bit wary of trading the yen at the moment because I don't have a direction on it. Gold, well, there you go, guys. I thought maybe we're going to get a nice little push up in gold. We'll see. I wouldn't be jumping into it, guys. There is a potential little ending diagonal there. It has started. Possibly it could push up there. I've fallen out of love with gold, guys, because the market's just not reacting. The one thing I would say about that is that often I waited and waited and waited for something to happen and then given up on it, and 2 days later or a week later, bang, off it goes. So I wouldn't allow my emotions on that to, um, you know, change your mind, whatever it is about it. But just for me, I'm already involved in it from a gold mining point of view. I don't want to put any more money into it. That's basically what I'm saying. And silver's the same, guys. Yeah, the alarm went off, but it was running sideways. I'd love to see some upside to this, but at the moment at $22, if it dropped back down to 15 or something, it's a steal. But I don't see it doing that either, guys. It's in a big flat correction. Oh, on a daily time scale. It's in this big flat correction here, guys. Oops. With a possible one more leg down there. Yeah, because that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 diagonal for a C wave, possibly, which means you would not be surprised if it broke that and come down into here to see where I've got the fifth. That may be a place as it starts to break out of there that I might be interested in buying silver, guys, or adding to my silver position. I'm already in. I've already 3 positions on in silver, all of which obviously are in the red. Okay, Bitcoin was spoke about, Ethereum was spoke about. Oil, bit of a bounce there on the daily time scale for oil. Now, there was an oil story yesterday. What was it? Can't remember. I'll get my head around that. As I keep saying, don't see oil going down there anywhere soon, guys. So oil's either going to go flat or it's going to go long. I don't trade it. The only reason to look at it is just as an idea of what's going on in the economy, and when it's going long, the CAD tends to go long. EuroCAD, there you have it. Talked about this over the last few days. Said that was going to drop and go. Of course, I didn't trade it, but, yet again, at least we spotted it. If you're in it, fantastic, guys. Put your stop to 0 and see where it gets to. Euro Oz said it was going to drop, and yep, the alarm's gone off. It's moving nicely. Let's clean it up. Oh no, we had a question mark about that one, so I'm not going to claim that one, guys. I really do need to start putting charts out. Euro New Zealand moving as well, guys. Not as big a move as with the Aussie, and therefore we do know that when we go and look at the Aussie New Zealand, it will have pushed long. I got into it yesterday, and in the afternoon it was up, and I decided to take some money off the table, so I closed it. I'm not dedicated at the minute to currencies, guys. I'm a little bit sidetracked with the stock market, because I've been drawn down so badly. You're kind of focusing on it. That's euro yen. Well, I wouldn't trade that, because if I'm going to trade the yen, I'll trade it against the dollar, or the dollar against the yen, should I say. Euro Swiss, nice little push up. Is this what we're looking for here, guys? Is this, where we're going to be looking for a pullback of initial move and then off we go? We'll have to keep an eye out on that one. There's the pound CAD. That's the strengthening up of the CAD. Oh, did I just draw that in there? I did. I don't want to do that, folks. Because it looks as if, when you do that, it looks as if you got it right. I didn't get that right. I was looking for it to break out, although it did say I wouldn't trade the pound against the CAD. Pound Oz, pull down. What we were looking for here was a pullback to trade it long. Now, am I going to be brave enough to get into that? Probably not, but yet again, guys, do you remember back here when I did get into it, and then I accidentally closed it? when I was taking money off the table. But when you go into the portfolio and you've got the way it's set up, you've got anything that's in the green, it's in a line, and then down here's all the stuff that's in the red. And you've got your little X's beside them if you want to close them. So I wanted to just take some money off the table and went, right, we'll take the greens off, bump, 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 bump. And then come back and realised, oh my goodness, that was a currency that you've just closed there. So, yeah. But the important thing is that we did get the analysis right, and it has continued to go in the direction that we called from back down here, guys. I think I got in around there, got out of it there, but look, it's gradually moved up and up. There is a pullback there. It's quite a sharp pullback. But that's what stop losses are for, guys. If you think, if you were in there and you think that the pound is going to strengthen from here, then that's okay. Put your stop loss at 0. If it does come down, fair enough, it's disappointing, but you haven't lost any money, which is the most important thing in trading. And if it turns and goes here, then you'll be really happy that you didn't close the trade. If you close there, fair enough. You could get back in again if you think it's going to go long. I would wait. I wouldn't get in there. I know that when we're here, I said wait for this, and it is there. But I'm a little bit wary of the fact that the Aussie's gone long. So you at least need to read the reasons why the Aussie's gone long, guys. If we go back over to here. They're held their interest rate, but we need to know what they said, because that will be the reason why the Aussies moved overnight, guys. Pound New Zealand, also a little bit of a pullback, so potential little downside on the pound, but yet again from what date was that? That date was about the 15th of November. If we go 15th of November on this one, is there, guys. That's where we call this long. That's a nice move, folks. I wish I had been brave enough to get into it, or focused enough is the word I'm looking for, guys. Focused enough. Pound Swiss. Well, my goodness. There's a storm at the minute, guys, outside. The mic won't pick it up, but it just distracted me there. It's been blowing since 3 o'clock yesterday. We're all right here. We're in a valley within a valley, so we're not getting the worst of the winds here. Belfast is a massive U-shaped valley, guys, so we're protected from the worst of the wind. And then we're in a valley within Belfast, so we're hidden down from the worst of the wind. Pound Swiss. Well, we were looking to see if this would turn, give us a setup to trade it long. Fundamentally, I'm not 100% sure, but it is what we were looking for. So potentially, as that breaks out there, there's a trade long. Pound Euro. Yeah, I don't like trading the pound euro, guys. I should just take it off because I never trade it. Pound yen. Well, we did talk about this during the week last week, about that potential ending diagonal. It's not beautiful, but it's a potential ending diagonal. And now we're getting a leg up. Is that the start of the climb? And we said the same with this. That's a potential ending diagonal. And maybe, I did say don't get into that, wait. And then let's see if it gives us a setup, and then see if it goes again. So from there, or whatever that pullback is, if I was going to trade that would be where I'd get involved in it. Aussie New Zealand, that's away. Yeah, we called this one, guys. It's probably, well, say it's away. I was in it, and I closed out in the profit, but it would have been a good idea to hang on to it, because at this stage, wherever you got in, I don't know where I got in, somewhere here, just be a case of putting it stop loss to 0 and seeing if it's going to continue on up or pull back before it goes. because I think this has got a long way. Excuse, folks. I think it's got a long way to go, and I shouldn't have closed it, folks. Sometimes I've just got too many things to think about, and I just go safe mode and close things, um, whereby I'd actually potentially just get into a nice position there where we had the initial impulse. It's come back down again, didn't break the bottom, come down to 88%, with another impulse that broke that structure, pull back, and then that should classically be the start of the next move up, which could well break there. And obviously it would then probably move up something like that. So that would have been nice to be in there and stop the zero and let it run for a lot of weeks and months, guys. There may well still be opportunity on the higher time scale to get into it. But I would have to see some sort of little pullback. Reason being, I don't want to get into it after having got out of it in the green and then getting in now for it to, do something like that again. And then you're in the red. Ah, So if it does something like that, it could push up into there and do that. And then that would be another opportunity to get into it long. Aussie Swiss, same thing, guys. There's a little push up in the Aussie CAD. You see the reason I don't like trading this? Even though the Aussie went long, the CAD went long, and look what we've got, nothing. So stay away from it. Swiss yen. It's another one that I do like to trade. I'd prefer this to come a bit lower. There was the one. Ending diagonal, off you go, stop the zero, let it run. And this is the other one that I was in that I'm pretty sure closed yesterday as well. Do you know what? I've just remembered why I closed them. I watched the video, Kathy Wood's roundup of the economy. Once a month she puts a video out. I think it's once a month, guys. And I really liked what she was saying about her ETFs, and they were down 40% from their highs. And I thought to myself, as a long-term investment, even if they drop some more, they'll come back again. So I took currencies off the table, even though they were in the green, and I put them into ARC's ETFs, guys. I put about $2,000 into them. And that's where I took the money from. So that's where they went to. I don't know if it's a smart thing to do or not. I kind of need to allocate a percentage of the account to have as free cash, as it were, that I only trade in currencies, and then another percentage of it, which will be the bulk of it, that you're putting into long-term stock investments, guys. Because that's where we are now. Earlier in the year, I was jumping in and out because I knew we'd get a drawdown and I didn't want to be caught in it. As it turned out, I end up caught in it anyway. But now any stocks I'm buying, I'm going to, once I get them into the green, it'll be stop loss to zero, and let's see where we can go with these things. But that's not necessarily going to happen anytime soon, guys. That may well take, well, hopefully not 6 months to a year, but it could well take a period of time before that's the situation where we're putting stop losses to zero, because quite a few of the stocks men are 20-30% drawn down, guys. And there was a time if something hit 30%, I just closed it. But we're not in that situation. We'd have to close half the account if we were to do that now. Or not half, I'm exaggerating. But we are in a big drawdown. It's just a case of dollar averaging now. CAD yen, yeah. on the 4 hours. It's moved up. If you're in this, get your stop to 0. If you're not, I would wait for some sort of setup to get into it. New Zealand yen, not sure about it. CAD, CAD. Well, there's the strength of the CAD continuing to push that down, but I'm not keen on this. It's 5 wave now, guys. So potentially you get a wave here, but that would be purely structural. Technical, sorry, is the word I'm looking for. That would be a purely technical trade where you're looking for this to finish, and that also looks like a 5 in there. If you went down to the 1 hour time scale, you'd probably find 5 in there. That could well push up. I'm not going to take it. It's a pure technical trade. If you were to take it, with that being a 1, a bit of unusual looking 2 in there, some sort of expanded flat, a 3, nice little zigzag for a 4. That's a 5th, guys. So it could well come back into that sort of area. There's a potential trade there. New Zealand Swiss. Yet again, I don't know about this one because the yen and the Swiss are safe havens, guys. If the market suddenly decides it's gone into panic mode again, they'll go off in the opposite direction to what we're hoping they go. And therefore, at the moment, I'm leaving them alone. Okay. There we go. That'll do us for today. Speak to you all again tomorrow. Bye for now.